So for those that don't know about Control Point, we've kind of talked around the solution a little bit this morning, so I'm not going to labour too much on this, also because we're going to catch up on time as a paddleboard. But I actually got a quote from a Queensland Government CIO, and he said, this is a game changer. When HP acquired Autonomy, got this Control Point product, he said, this is a game changer for the records managers, the information management people, to help them with their business. This is obviously some of the things it can do, plenty of different use cases, and Jill will show some more as well. So our experience, we're obviously a HP business partner based in Brisbane, service clients all over Australia and New Zealand. We've actually got, just with Control Point alone, 5 different case studies or clients with Control Point, ranging from a terabyte of data, which may not seem like much, and we'll talk through that shortly, all the way to hundreds of terabytes of data. So again, different scenarios there. They're all at different stages of the journey. Some are just really learning about the whole, what they want to do with it, the strategy, have it installed, having a bit of a play. Some are at the other end of actually getting some ROIs and things like that as well. We have some great relationships, and there's some support team people here as well. The main sort of support team is based in Europe, so we often work later at night to catch up with them. I know that one of them's had a baby and there's lack of sleep, so we have those really good relationships that we can talk about those types of things. And we also work with the product team a fair bit as well, just to drive direction and future and feedback from clients as well around it. So this is a case study on Catholic Education. It is a real company, it's not Seminole. But we're going to be going through it. It's a small organisation. So a bit of a customer at a glance. The main office supports 40 schools, so it is a school. Has 16,000 students. The main office has 70 staff within it. They had a terabyte of data. Again, doesn't seem like much, but for 70 people, that is obviously quite a lot. They were very new to Content Manager. They just had it, and they had a plan to use it and move things off the shared drive. And they purchased Control Point as a tool to understand similar things that we talked about before, of what they have, reduce the clutter, and move stuff into Content Manager as part of the journey in that space. So they had the product. We came in and said, great, now what do you want to do with it? They didn't actually know. They bought the product, it sounded really good at the time, but they actually then had to work out what we're going to do with it. So we formed a working party with the IT, the business, and compliance. So sort of all the sides that we need to use in that space. Did the basic install in a couple of weeks. They didn't have a strategy, no project management. Everyone else had full-time jobs. They were trying to work out how they were going to do everything they needed to do. As part of the discovery phase, we actually did a bit of knowledge sharing and on-the-job learning. So we configured it and we shared that knowledge with the clients so they could actually then use that product going forward without having to have a vendor present as well. I actually had Vince with a quote here saying, every time I talk to you, I learn more. And he was quite angry when he told me that on the phone. So I'm pretty sure that's a good thing. But it's like anything. Content Manager, Control Point, SDM, they're large products. And over time you need to learn that. But obviously every time you learn something, you kind of change the direction of what you want to do with it next, and that was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger in that space. Again, we learn on the job, so we train the staff to support the system going forward and just use us for those questions. So we did the basic install, ran them through some training, and then they would go, hey, can you just have a look at this? Can you check that I've done that right? Does this do this, this and this? So again, they became self-sufficient at a point in time. We also found during the discovery phase that the CEO's area was a source of truth. So they had Content Manager, that was their source of truth, that was their compliance system, but the CEO also got a copy of every single document. For some reason, as it went up, it stayed there as well. They put it in Content Manager, so they had a couple of different sources. So what did we discover? 350,000 duplicate files within the organisation. 92% of those hadn't been modified in over a year. So going back to Abdullah's speech around, once you know that information, you can actually then act upon it. You can decide to say, well, all that needs to go to an archive. We need to separate that into smaller chunks. We found the CEO's area was the source of truth and had copies of obviously amended versions of all those documents. Multiple sections of the drive were duplicated. I've been in an organisation like that where a user just takes a copy and puts it over here for a rainy day, just in case. And we also use a Control Point to find sensitive student protection files. So they came to us as a support partner and said, look, I need you to set up a record type within Content Manager. I said, yep, not a problem. So we did that so that they could have some security around that. On the flip side of that, we then said, what if I could tell you where all those sensitive files are everywhere in the organisation? They said, oh, it's all good, it's just going to be in the CEO's area. I said, okay, We ran Control Point, we gave them some documents, and then we pushed that across the enterprise and found that it wasn't just in the CEO's area, it was sitting in Content Manager, IT. So for them, really sensitive student protection documents were pretty much sprawled across the whole drive. So a little bit about what we discovered in this space. So this is where they started off. So you'll see on the top right, it's just over a terabyte and 1.2 million items. You'll also see here there's a little bit of a difference to what you've seen in the past around there's no obsolete. This user chose not to have obsolete as a trigger for them, perfectly fine. But of that terabyte, basically came up that there was around 600 odd gig that could actually be reduced from that. Again, that's a really small amount. You scale it over more terabyte, it just makes it an easier story to start. So in a month after installing the system, working out the strategy, and actually then going through it and using with the business areas, they managed to reduce it down to 689 gig. They still have a little bit more to do, there's still plenty more sitting in there, but they kind of went with the strategy of if it's sitting in Content Manager, it's sitting in the shared drive, it's a duplicate. This is the source of truth, we're automatically going to get rid of it. So it was a way for them to really just make that black and white decision. This part here is where they're actually going to get the businesses to individually look through, work out what needs to be kept, what can be removed, and go through the process. So as I said before, it's 420 gig that they've reduced, 350,000 files that they've reduced, and based on that reduction alone, for again, a really small client, that's a positive return on investment. That was something tangible they could actually take back to their executive team and say, hey, we bought this tool for A, we've done this, we've made C, which was quite a good story to tell. So as we went through, the strategy kind of developed as we went. That was, again, kind of organic or agile is the new buzzword these days. And what they did is actually said, well, we'll move our current stuff. If we're in the share drive where it was 2016 at the time, we'll move our current stuff. As we would use it, we'll move it into Content Manager in the correct PCS. What we then said is anything else pre-2016 will actually be picked up automatically and moved into Content Manager and Archive. So we obviously reduced all the duplicates and cleaned it all up and said, now all these are important records, and actually created a sort of a big bucket for every area, so IT, HR, finance, so forth and so on. And basically, they're actually going to repeat this model, which I'll talk about shortly in the next slide. So for them, what's next? They've cleaned up most of the mess, and now they're at this point in time moving stuff into Content Manager. That was the process for that. They're going to continue to use Control Point in the main office to understand sort of what information they have and what other things it can do, the searching, finding sensitive files, information searches or RTIs or FOIs, depending on which state you're in. And they plan to repeat this model for the next 40 schools. So again, there's about 3,500 staff, 40 different schools. So they're actually going to use Control Point to say, point of the school, find your duplicates, clean it up, move them into Content Manager. And just going to repeat that model over the next coming years, I assume, to actually then just to get off the network drive and push into Content Manager. We actually have an IT conference we're actually going up to. They run an IT conference with all 40 IT managers and those IT people come to that conference. We're actually talking about this same thing, the same topics we've talked about today, too much information, what do we need to do with it, how do I reduce it, how do I have retention and things around it. So this is, for them, is a really strategic tool to actually use that and go through the process. So some of the lessons that we learned, and obviously they learn as well, and that these are ones we've applied to every other client we've dealt with since, is start small, understand the product. Obviously, you know, there's lots of bells and whistles and nice pretty graphs, but if you're starting small, getting a return on investment, and then obviously expanding from there, and try and solve the, work through those problems you need to solve. Get some metrics on how many information searches you have, where your data is kept, and actually keep all those metrics up front so that you can report that then to your executive after the fact. Where to focus, again, don't bite off more than you can chew. Small, achievable, measurable wins. That's just how that works for that client, and just getting quick wins and keep doing those quick wins as we go forward. And what to do next? Involve key players in your organisation. Again, I'm an information manager or a records person from way back. This is a strategic tool. It puts you at the table with your IT and your executive team. That's one of the biggest things that excites me about this product, is it allows you to have those discussions and say, look, I'm scanning your personal H drives and I'm comparing that with why you've got copies sitting in other parts of the drive, and it sort of moves that from that record sense into that new age record keeping space. And as that title book went up, that's pretty much me. So if anyone has any other questions, if not, thank you very much for listening.